Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be looking at the class tuning changes for March 25th. So I said on stream they were going to do some PvP, or not PvP tuning, they're going to do some tuning most likely today, and glad to see my prediction was spot on. They are doing class tuning. Apparently this is going to be for PvP and PvE, or at least that's what I saw in Wildhead, but I wanted to go on the forums and look at this. So let's see if my prediction nerfs are spot on this time again. Frost DK is getting damage increase, but it does not apply to PvP, so it doesn't really affect me that much. Most of my content, by the way, in case you're a PvE person watching this, is PvP, so that's going to be kind of what I'm talking about here. Vengeance Demon Hunter looks like they get a nerf to their parry chance, but I don't really see too many of them anyways. So it looks like a nerf to Vengeance Demon Hunter. Balance Droid I heard was doing really bad in PvE, so I'm not really surprised they got single target buffs. They got buffed to Wrath, which isn't really going to help that much, I feel like, in PvP anyways. More Star Search damage is always welcome. Loon's Chosen got a buff as well, but everybody runs Keeper of the Grove, so only thing that really matters here is the Star Surge buff, in my opinion. So, I mean, I'm running Loon's Chosen for a full moon build, but yeah, like I said, Keeper of the Grove is pretty much what everybody runs right now. So I feel like the only thing that really matters here is the Star Surge buff. Guardian Druids looks like they got a buff. Dreadful Wound damage, well, Dread of the Claw, I should say, got buffed. But like I said, this is all PvE stuff, so it's not really too surprising. Devastation fixed an issue where the final tick of Disintegrate would not benefit from Tectonic Wrath or Idrances while talented into Ezra Clarity. Developers notes the raid tier bonus was way too strong, causing players to not want to equip new gear from Undermine. Oh, so the tier from the last raid. We're reducing the effectiveness and buffing the new Undermine to encourage people to use newer items. The 4-piece now reduces the cooldown of Shattering Star and Eternity Surge by 1 second, was 4 seconds. So they nerfed the old tier. I mean, I get it. PvE stuff, probably why they did that. Devastation Evoker, Undermine 2-piece, now cast Shattering Star, 100% effectiveness was 50%. Chance for Devastation Evoker, Undermine 2-piece, now triggers 25% more frequently. Undermined 4 set now increases the damage of your next empowerment by 25% instead of 20%. So they buffed the tier and nerfed the last tier piece. Okay, so more buffs, although, I mean, it's still kind of a nerf in PvP, but because they nerfed PvP, but it's still kind of a buff as well. Augmentation, all damage of spells increased by 15%. I don't even think augmentation ever exists in PvP anymore, so probably still won't change much for that. Preservation, looks like they changed their tier there too. They increased their healing of their spells and abilities by 5%. Disintegrate damage increased by 25%, so great, healers get to do more damage. And a Living Flame damage increased by 25%, but does not apply for PvP. Okay. So far, none of my... these are PvE changes, so they don't really count, but so far, nothing has caught my prediction so far. Beast Mastery is performing well, but we have a few planned changes to address some quality of life changes as well as a few bug fixes. So, periodic effect duration increased by 14 seconds, was 10 seconds, so a buff there. Dark Ranger Withering Fire now prioritizes enemies that do not have Black Arrow effects, and then they fixed the other few bugs here. Survival, they're increasing the frequency and power of pack leader summons for survival to help make this talent tree more appealing. All their damage dealt increased by 4%, and then some buffs to the pack leader talent tree to see if more people will end up running that. So, survival got some buffs. Marksman, performance is lower than expected, so we are making substantial tuning changes to bring them closer to where we expected. We'd like Phantom Pain to compelling source of damage and worth playing around Mythic plus AoE scenarios. So all of this basically gives Marksman more damage. Explosive Shot doesn't really, I feel like, do much damage in PvP as it is, in my opinion. So they didn't put does not apply to PvP, so we'll be seeing that as well. Volley damage doesn't really change anything. Dark Ranger buffs. This should be interesting. So I've seen a lot of people split between Sentinel and Dark Ranger at the moment, so I'm not sure how to feel about this, but they always buff Marksman Hunter every time. Me and Gray Fox always have this joke. They always buff Marksman Hunter. I know this is PvE, but still, it's always so funny because they're it's going to PvP simply due to the fact that does not apply to PvP. So like this down here, Arcane got buffed but does not apply to PvP. Frost does not apply to PvP. Apparently, Fire they are putting this in PvP, so Fire got a nerf. Okay, all damage decreased by 4% does not apply to PvP. Slicing winds damage increased does not apply to PvP. Okay, this one I'm good. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. Did not need a buff. I expected Windwalker buffs, but we haven't gotten to the PvP portion yet. I mean buffs, sorry. Nerfs. But we haven't gotten to the PvP portion yet, so maybe the nerfs are there. We'll see. We're decreasing Mistweaver's overall damage while leaving their healing relatively unchanged. Spinning Crane Kick has felt weaker than we would like compared to the rest of the Mistweaver kit, so we're increasing Spinning Crane Kick. So all damage decreased does not apply to PvP combat, does not apply to PvP combat. The only thing that pretty much applies to PvP combat is the last two things, so which is Spinning Crane Kick. Brewmaster's got a 3% damage buff. Paladin. Holy Paladin's got a healing buff on pretty much most of their stuff. I know nothing about healers, but so it looks like Holy Paladin's got some buffs. Red Paladin got a 20% damage buff, and it goes into PvP. Holy, looks like Holy got some buffs. So Holy Priest got some buffs. At least Discipline didn't get anything. Discipline should. Oh, here's Discipline. Shadow Priest got a 3% damage nerf. Discipline, looks like they got a damage taken reduced by 1% nerf. And this last one's not applied to PvP combat, so they didn't get a buff there. Rogue Assassin, all damage increased. Okay, does not affect PvP, so Rogue's only got PvE buff here. Elemental got a buff to Lava Burst, Lightning Bolts, Ice Fury, Primordial Wave damage. I mean, Ollie, in my opinion, kind of is not that great at the moment, so I'm not surprised they got some buffs. Demology got a 3% damage buff. Prot Warrior looks like they got some nerfs, so Prot Warrior got some nerfs, and that is all the PvE buffs and nerfs, so... a few of them I'm not really too surprised about, but like I said, it's PvE stuff, so let's get to the good part, the PvP part. We're adding additional healing reduction effect to rated battlegrounds and battleground bloods this week to reduce the potential stalemates in these modes. This does not affect unrated battlegrounds. Whoa, they're at, oh my gosh. This does not affect unrated battlegrounds. Similar to arenas are being drawn out where there's a healer on both teams. So we're increasing the starting healing reduction 2v2 to allow additional. So they're gonna be adding a healing reduction effect in rated battlegrounds and battleground blitz now. So I actually think that's kind of a good idea because battleground blitz is just beat on the healers most of the time from what I've done. So that's interesting. I actually am kind of shocked they're adding it though because I didn't think they ever would. But I think this might be a good idea. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Do you guys agree or not? And we'll see. All healing done is now reduced by 10% in rated. Oh, so it's just like it doesn't add up. Okay, so they're just Oh, okay. I misread it. So it's basically all healing done is reduced by 10% in rated battlegrounds and battleground blitz. So this will affect DPS as well. So this should be interesting. Death Knights. We're improving Death Knight defenses against other melee specializations. So they want to buff DKs. Blood Force now lasts 4 seconds and reduces physical damage by 25%. Okay, so I'm not sure that'll help out all that much, but it's something, I suppose. Blood DK got buff to Sanelin, same for Unholy. So DK's got a small survivability buff. That'll help out. I don't think that'll help out, to be honest, all that much, but, you know, it's something. Balanced Trade. We're increasing the damage of multiple balanced trade spells and reducing specs reliance on Harmony of Grow for burst potential. We're also looking to increase the spec survivability by removing the PvP reduction on Frenzied Regen. So Moonfire, Sunfire, Our increased frenzied regen is no longer reduced by 38%. Sweet, they actually buffed balanced road survivability. We needed this because balanced road survivability is complete garbage. Keeper of the Grove was nerfed, so maybe we'll see some more Aluna's Chosen. I mean, Aluna's Chosen is actually pretty fun, but I'm sure Keeper of the Grove will probably be the way to go. Tireless Pursuit, they just nerfed the flag carrier. They really hate flag carriers, don't they? Like, they keep constantly nerfing, like, all the flag carrying ways. Like, Monks got nerfed, and now Tireless Pursuit got nerfed. It's kind of funny. Wicked Claws PvP talent now decreases healing received by 16%. Was 20%. So I guess our Mortal Strike was nerfed. I can't remember if that's what it is. My brain's too slow this morning. Frenzied Regen is no longer decreased for Restoration Druids, so that's good. We're adding some reductions to the power of Mage mobility and defenses with emphasis on Arcane, which is especially tough to chase. Overpowered Barrier is something we're excited to see used. We feel the 5-second duration is too high to encourage gameplay, and we want this from this talent, which is for enemies to consider waiting for the barrier instead of attacking. We're reducing the duration to encourage that. This also reduces its defensive value, since it is indeed a bit overpowered. So now it's 4 seconds instead of 5 seconds. I mean, to be honest, I think 5 seconds was actually kind of fine. I didn't think 5 seconds was that hard, but I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority there. Barrier Diffusion is now 50% effective in PvP. Cumulative shielding is 3%. Temporal Velocity is 50% effective in PvP. And Incarnation Swiftness is 50% effective in PvP. It looks like they also want to nerf Arcane, so they don't want them to be like super slippery, I guess. That's what I've got from that. I'm surprised they didn't nerf Frost Mage a little bit more. That's actually one I expected to get nerfed, but they didn't seem to do so. Marksman Hunter only got this small of a nerf. I was wrong. I really thought Marksman Hunter would get some nerfs, but apparently they went easy on them. So Marksman dodged the nerf bat. Windwalker. This was actually one I was thinking was going to get nerfed. Celestial Conduit Healing increased by 50% in PvP combats. I'm not sure. Is that a nerf or not? I mean, it doesn't seem like a nerf. Whatever. Last Emperor's Capacitator now increases the damage Jerry Lightning by 300%. Was 400, so Lightning got nerfed. And there we go. Slicing Winds nerfed in PvP. Big surprise. Not surprised, really, but Slicing Winds has been nerfed in PvP. I am not surprised by that at all. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go harder on Windwalker. But, yeah, it was bound to happen. They were going to nerf Slicing Winds. Looks like they did nerf some Mistweavers. So Mistweaver got some healing buffs. They also nerfed their mana regen, it looks like, so by 10%. So Mistweaver's got some buffs. Blinding Light no longer removes damage. Oh, thank you. Oh man, I hate when people do this. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad for this change. Thank you. We're pulling back on a few Retribution Paladins negative PvP multipliers we no longer feel are necessary. So, Venging's Wrath now deals damage increased by 15% instead of 10. Blade of Justice increased by 20% in PvP combats. And Divine Protection now decreases. So, Ret Paladins just basically got another buff because they got some buffs a while back. So, Paladins will be even more of a threat. Discipline. Please be some big nerfs. Mana regen is now reduced by 45% in PvP, was 30%. Healing reduced by 25%. Hopefully, we will freaking see the end of Discipline Priests. I'm sick of seeing them everywhere. They are infesting battlegrounds. PvP in general, it's ridiculous. So, hopefully, we'll see some more. Anything but Priests, just ugh. So, hopefully, we'll see some more. Holy, looks like they got some more buffs because they added PvE ones as before. So they got Holy Priest got some buffs. Outlaw now decreases damage taken by additional 15% in stuns was 40% and reduces the cost of fate by 10% was 30%. So Outlaw I guess got a nerf. Developers notes: Elemental sustained single target damage with their changes in mind. So Elemental got some PvE buffs that go into PvP. We are also positioning Primordial Wave, more threatening spell that should be allowed to kill more opponents. So they buffed Tempest damage. Um, they're reducing some of the burst for enhancement and increasing the sustain. So looks like the sustain damage for enhance went up, but they nerfed the burst. Okay. Warlock. I'm no Destro nerfs. I'm shocked, but I mean they just buffed it like a while ago too. So I don't know. Maybe that's why. They did nerf the force set though. That's not really a surprise. The force set was going to be really broken. Armed Warrior has been buffed, and that's pretty much it for the changes, guys. Yeah, that's crazy. Let me know. There's so many changes. Holy crap. Let me know what you guys think of the changes down below, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I will see you guys later. Peace.